guys see this fight? This boxing match took place in California. And the fight went off, and the guy who won was like a 22-1 favorite going into the match, right? I mean, just typical boxing. Boxing will get it. They've got it wrong from the beginning of their sport. They will never get it right. They are so incredibly married and attached to for absolutely false ideas that do not exist anywhere except within their own minds, a guy's record. Boxing has never found a way to make it acceptable to lose, which is 50% of the chance that you have when you go out and compete, which means boxing has never sold the idea or gotten over to the audience or even conceived that they should promote competition. And when you're competing, it comes with losses. So guy's got to be 20-0 or he's a bum. It's got to be 25-0 or he's a bum. So you're bringing all these cans to build this record. The guy never sold a ticket on the way to getting to 25-0, but then they can make a poster, put it on there, and throw him in Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's just the recipe that boxing has always followed. Having absolutely no consideration that it took 8 years for the guy to get to this record with absolutely no competition because they went out of their way to make sure that there was no competition, which means he cannot sell or make any money. The whole thing was a waste of time so that he can have the one fight at Madison Square Garden with a poster that says 25-0. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. Everything I just stated for you is ridiculous, but it's the way boxing does it. So a guy goes out, he's in a boxing match of which he's a 22-1 underdog. A mystery shot takes place. He goes down, he's out, fight's over. And this is like fast, 40 seconds into it. And that's with the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10, and the guy's out. I mean, California State Athletic Commission withheld his purse. And the commission said, and Andy Foster spoke on this, he said, just to be perfectly clear, we are not accusing him of anything. We are not saying at all he did anything wrong. We're asking that he come in and talk with us and that we give this a review and let us ask a couple of questions. Okay. So very polite by the executive director. But if you take another bit of a look at this, or you go watch the fight, there was no make-believe story where the guy was knocked out. It was a punch that was thrown. The glove, the legal part of the punch in boxing, never touches him, but the guy's bicep kind of comes around, touches his face. He goes down and he never gets up. I'm not certain what it is he needs to explain. There is nothing within the rules that for it to be a knockout, you have to be knocked out. There's not even anything in the rules that says you have to try. I mean, this is a case of he got very scared and looked for a way out, but that's extremely common. Guys do this every Saturday night. Most of them sell it a little bit better. Most of them will wait until that punch lands and then go down and then start arguing with the ref and throw this whole fit and get into the back, hit the shower and go, ooh, got away with one. I just don't know where the commission would come into. What's the commission going to say? Were you hurt? Were you really out? Why did you stay down? Does it matter? I'm not a very tough guy. I didn't belong in there. It was a mismatch. I got scared. He touched me. I was looking for a way out. I took it earlier than most guys would. I was planning to take it in the third round. I found it in the first 40 seconds. What do you say? That now becomes between the athlete and his promoter. Is he going to get another match? Look, if you go out and you take a fall like that and pretend that you're knocked out when you are not, it's one of those things. But to act as though that isn't very common, to explain to you, the audience, how many rear naked chokes you've seen in the last 10 years that were real would be very easy to do because I could do it on one hand. And I wouldn't need very many fingers on that hand. The rear naked choke is the move for I'm ready to get out of here. I'm done. You got me. There's no way to get out. The ref's not going to stop it. My corner's not going to throw the tap. I'm going to turn over, put the hooks in, don't hit me once, put on this choke, I'll do my part, tap, tap, tap. There's nothing wrong with that. It sounds terrible the way I say it. It sounds terribly cowardly. It's what you're trying to do. You're trying to break your opponent. You will largely try to break him down physically, but there's also a mental component. There's also a level of exhaustion. There's also a level of fear. Once you're dominating a guy and he can't go anywhere, man, I got to get out of here. You're not doing enough damage to put me out. You're not doing quite enough damage for the referee to step in and save me. Let me roll over, grab my neck. I'll do my part. Happens in boxing too. There was a fight. Josh Thompson was in it. I'm trying to think of who he fought. I know the guy that he fought. And Josh threw a punch. They were grounded pound. Josh threw a punch. Punch missed. Guy goes out cold. So they stand up. This is in the UFC. So they stand up and they're showing it on the big screen. It was the night that Tito fought Randy. I offer that because I was there. Punch missed. And so Rogan's interviewing Josh and they look at the screen and Rogan says, "Tell me about this punch." And they play it like in slow motion. I mean, it clearly missed. And Josh Thompson says on the microphone, he watches it and he simply says to Joe Rogan, "The punch missed." But it was the guy was ready to go. Now, to my point, what do you do when you're in the fight business and you're paying people to fight and one guy doesn't fight? Well, you don't have him back. Gerald Strebit, that was the name I'm looking for. And Gerald didn't come back. I don't know where the commission would be involved and how far are we going to go through that? Are we going to make believe the night that Mike Tyson missed Bruce Seldon and you could have counted to 1 or you could have counted to 100? Seldon wasn't getting up. It missed. Seldon was the world champ. Tyson won a world title over Seldon. That's how good Seldon was. He brought the damn belt that Mike left with. This wasn't some bum from the bar who got paid by a dirty promoter to put him in there with a guy who was a 22-1 favorite to try to build a guy in a corrupt and filthy sport in the first place. That's not what happened. That was a champion of the world. He didn't want in there. I mean, how far are we going to go? And what is it you're trying to say? A knockout does never mean a guy needs to be knocked out, ever. It means he stays down for 10 seconds and doesn't get up. That's what it is. I'm interested in this. I want to see where the commission is going to go. What questions are you going to ask? Unless you're going to ask, did you bet against yourself or did somebody tell you to go to, and if there's nothing nefarious there, what is it you're going to say? And what's the boxer going to say? Is he going to keep on trying to lie about this and go, "Oh man, that bicep touched my face, man. I just didn't know where I was." What's he going to say? Go in there and tell the truth. Here's what the rules say. Go down for 10 seconds, you don't get up, the other guy wins and I lose. That's what I did, that's what happened. Nothing to see here. Pay me.
Uncle Chael, Uncle Chael, there's no bad guy like Uncle Chael. Never lost, not even a round. Undefeated, undisputed. Oh yeah, here comes the bad guy. Uncle Chael, Uncle Chael. There's no bad guy like Uncle Chael. Never lost, not even a round. Undefeated, undisputed. Oh yeah, here comes the bad guy. Uncle Chael, Uncle Chael. There's no bad guy like Uncle Chael. Never lost, not even a round. Undefeated, undisputed. Oh yeah, here comes the bad guy. Uncle Chael.